Pilate hands over Jesus to be flogged, and a soldier takes Jesus and he takes a whip and he begins laying open the back of Jesus. With each lash of the whip, skin would be exposed, muscle would be exposed, and sometimes the whip would even cut as deep as bone. After Jesus was in excruciating pain and after he was in agony, some soldiers took some thorns and they twisted together a crown of thorns and they placed it on Jesus' head. And then they wrapped him in a purple robe. And one by one, these soldiers began coming up to Jesus and they began mocking him. "Long live the King of the Jews." And one would strike him in the face. And then again, another would walk up. "Long live the King of the Jews," mocking him, maybe even spitting in his face. Or maybe they would punch him. After the soldiers had had their fun, Pilate brings out Jesus before the people and says, look at this man. I find no basis for him under Roman law to be condemned." But before Pilate could even finish his sentence, some of the Jewish leaders cry out, "Crucify him! Crucify him! Take him away!" But Pilate speaks back at him. "You take him. You crucify him. I find no basis to even charge him." And another religious leader speaks up. "Under our law, he's committed a crime punishable by death. He claims to be the Son of God." And at this, fear begins entering the heart and the mind of Pilate. And Pilate takes Jesus back into his chamber. And he looks at Jesus. "Where do you come from?" But Jesus doesn't answer him. And Pilate looks at Jesus again. "Don't you know who I am? Don't you know that I have the power to either set you free or to crucify you?" And Jesus looks at Pilate. "You don't have any power over me other than the power given to you from above." And deep down, deep inside, Pilate knew that that was true. So Pilate said in his mind that he was going to free Jesus, or at least he was going to try. So he goes out to the people and again he tries to free Jesus, but they're not having it. And someone actually says, "You know what, Pilate, you're no friend of Caesar. Here's a man claiming to be king and you're going to set him free. You shouldn't be in power." And at this, Pilate knows that he's at the end of his rope. He knows that it's either Jesus or him. If Caesar finds out that this man claims to be king and that he set him free, then Pilate's head will be on a platter. So Pilate brings Jesus out, and Pilate sits on his throne of judgment. And testing the loyalty of the crowd, testing the loyalty of the people. "Shall I crucify your king?" And the people cry back, "We have no king but Caesar." And at this, Pilate sends Jesus off to be crucified. And it's in this moment we learn a truth about the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is not like earthly kingdoms. It's not like the Jewish kingdom, and it's not like the Roman kingdom. It's not like our modern kingdoms. Every kingdom that's existed on the face of the earth has been ruled on an economy based on threat, or the force of threat, the force of violence, or fear. But God's economy, it doesn't run on that. It doesn't run on fear. It doesn't run on threat. God's economy runs on what some would say reckless love, reckless mercy, reckless grace. And that alone makes God's kingdom worth dying for. Maybe that's why Jesus, even though he faced excruciating pain, excruciating agony, maybe that's why Jesus was willing to lay it all down. Maybe he knew that the kingdom of God was worth dying for. I love you all. Grace and peace.